Four Horsemen of Sales. We are super excited to be here. This is episode 1 of season 1, ladies and gentlemen. How are you guys?
Totally here.
I am your host, Yanni Kiflay, and these are my co-hosts to the right, Alan Magesha, Malcolm Kiflay, Claudio Frescas. And we are Four Horsemen of Sales.
Yes, we are. That's right.
Huh? Can you believe it's happening?
I can't believe it. February 4th, here we are.
A long time coming, man.
Long time coming.
Dates, I love it.
Breaking rules already, man.
Hey, you just put it on the calendar.
Hey, it's been marked. It's been circled on our calendar.
It has to.
Let's do this.
So to our listeners and viewers, you might be wondering who we are, why you should be listening to us. You know, who we are, what are we, you know, where did we come from, what's our background,
Yes.
all of this. So let's move things along. Let's kind of introduce each other. I'm going to start with my brother. My actual brother, these are all my brothers, but blood brother.
Blood brother.
A.K.A. Miguel.
Miguel.
Yes.
Hello.
By the way, he changed like 3 times before this.
He did.
That's a nice.
Oh, that's a nice polo.
I really did like that.
That's a nice one.
He wasn't going to wear that.
He did.
I wore this one in a while.
Yeah, you have it. That's a nice. Don't you have a black one just like this too?
You got a black.
Yeah, that's nice.
You got a black.
Yeah. I used to borrow one, and then I got fat, and then I can't wear it anymore.
He used to go on me about where I shop. He said, "Baby Gap."
Baby Gap. That's for sure.
Alan used to wear the same
until he started wearing the same thing.
Let's tell us about Malcolm. Tell us
He
about
started wearing the same thing. I'm always wearing the same boat.
One day we gotta post a picture.
No. Okay? Tell us about Malcolm.
Okay, Malcolm. My brother Malcolm. So Malcolm Kiflay, Mr. Miguel, like I said, okay, my guy has been in sales for over 11 years. I've seen him kind of develop and grow, you know, since from school to where he is now. You know, we were, you know, competitive when we were in college playing ball. I used to whoop his ass.
Did Brian ever beat Milligan?
I used to have him get out the game. You know, I used to just steal the ball. Malcolm.
Not much competition.
Not much competition.
Hey,
not much competition.
It was good competition in the summer. It was good preparation in the summer. We got a lot of work in.
Good old Brian Collins, my gosh. Okay, so Malcolm, background, 4 years with retail in terms of sales, then another 7 years or so with the vacation real estate. Held several sales positions, training positions. Like I said, I've always told you that I think your expertise comes in training and managing and whatnot, and have won multiple awards, and currently is a manager at one of the biggest vacation real estate companies in the world. Two-time manager of the year. Every time he wins, that award, gets a big trophy. It's an eagle, and I swear to God, it's as big as this signpost. So that's Malcolm. I've seen, like I said, I've seen him grow. So to Mr. Malcolm Kiflay.
Hey, appreciate that, man.
One of the Four Horsemen of Sales.
Appreciate that. Yeah, it's a pleasure getting to introduce the next gentleman. Because hey, this is the guy that brought me in the game, brought me in the industry. Responsible for both of my sales careers, and you know, started way back after college. Decided to. Well, we went to college in the state of Tennessee, but I decided to stay in Tennessee.
Where'd you guys go?
Tennessee.
Where'd you go?
We went near Chattanooga, Tennessee. So everybody know where Chattown is. Deep South. Right? But
I used to have to go pick them up.
Yeah.
That drive was horrible.
Remember those drives? Those drives were horrible.
It was the worst. It was the worst. Like 10 years away. I mean, 10 hours away. But you know, after graduation, obviously, you know, I knew we were gonna live together, right? And I was gonna start my career in the state of Tennessee, and I'm looking for all these jobs. I think I wanted to be sales oriented.
That's when you guys used to rent furniture, right?
Oh my gosh!
Wow, why you gotta put that business out like that?
At one point,
we all been there.
He's going on a different level right now, guys.
We all
finish the story,
listen,
man.
we had to help. We had to help them. We had to help the sales people there.
Man,
my goodness.
Michael told me he's financing the TV.
credit would be good.
Man, that was big.
They should do something to build credit.
That's another way. That's good. That's a good way.
So, I'm like, man, I'm trying to introduce my boy over here. But hey, I get there and Cloud said, look, man, instead of looking for all these different positions with titles, right? He's
you
like,
were chasing titles. I remember that.
Yeah, I said I've got a bachelor's in communication, right?
Yeah.
4-year degree, right? I'm like, hey, let me get an assistant manager position.
That's right, you were. I remember
And
that.
The assistant to the regional manager. Dwight Schrute.
What did he say?
The assistant to the regional manager. That's what you were going for.
Yes.
The office.
Let her
Come on,
finish.
man.
I was going for a position.
They didn't watch the show.
No.
But Claudio, he's killing the game already in the retail sales, and he says, look, man, come. He's like, look, you want to make some money? This is where you need to go.
Mm-hmm.
And introduced me to the retail sales, and hey, I've seen him from a sales executive to managing the #1 performing store in this, in the entire country, right? But how do you go from sales executive to manager to owning, literally running the entire store, right?
Entire store.
And as he trained and developed some of the most successful representatives out there, that's how it evolved to become the #1 performing store.
Yeah.
And hey, that goes along to say, hey, it goes from that career to the B2B world, right? And once again in the B2B world, rises to the top. And here today, he's a VP of sales for a tech company. So, hey,
I will say this though. I forgot about this. When he was managing that one store, he was probably the youngest general manager, one of the youngest general managers.
Youngest GMs, yeah.
Right?
Man,
running the entire
youngest.
store, right?
One
of the youngest. And I was like, wow, that was extremely impressive. People
yeah,
reporting to
a lot of
him
good
were
people.
almost twice his age. Think about that.
Hey, many storylines with it. So, hey,
It's a lot
no
of
further ado.
lot to take in.
Mr. Claudio Frescas.
Mr. Claudio
Claudio
There it is,
Frescas.
brother.
There it
I'm
is.
glad to be
I finally
here.
got through that after Yanni's
Yeah, I know. Yanni.
15
I mean,
Right.
you were just,
interruptions.
he was just laying it out there. You know, laying it out there.
Sometimes you just gotta put it out there.
Yeah.
So what you working with?
So since we're introducing people, let me introduce this guy right here with the pink polo on.
Is that pink or peach?
AGM
This is actually salmon.
Salmon. See?
Just think about
Hey,
food.
viewers, let me know. Is it pink or peach?
Why are you thinking of-
That's what this color is called. It's salmon. For all my people out there that know their colors, this is salmon.
We'll change the lighting later. We'll make it work. We'll make it work. But no, this guy right here, AGM, is definitely someone that I go way, way, way back in the day. I've known him since 6th grade.
Yeah.
My first instance.
We all known each other since
Oh, that's 20 plus, right?
It's day one.
almost 25.
20. Oh, yeah.
It's a long
We're
time.
telling ourselves there.
Giving a few secrets.
Yeah, so, no, but AGM was definitely somebody I learned from. He's a very humble person. But with that, don't confuse it with not being somebody that wants to be great. You get what I mean? And that's something I learned from him from an early age, too. I mean, people don't know this. He was a politician. That's something I always bring up. Student body president, getting things done.
That's how you got really good sales.
That's where he started, kissing babies, shaking hands. After that, of course, just to jump into after college, this guy, of course, we got to play basketball. Alan was working in college.
I thought he was the water boy.
Nah,
Stop playing.
no,
I
he
did
played
well.
too. He
And I
played
realized
too.
basketball wasn't my thing.
No, he did play too,
Yeah,
but he actually was the first one to introduce me to like, hey, dude, this is how you get money.
Yeah.
And
I remember that.
he's been in the transportation industry as a small business owner for over 10 years. So he's an entrepreneur by heart, but salesman through and through. He's climbed the ladders from the retail channel. Even went into non-profit. What's the word? Is it NGO?
NGO.
NGO. Tell them what it stands for.
Non-government organizations.
he almost forgot.
How you
forgot?
forget?
How you
No,
forget
it's just
that?
the way you were saying
Like
it.
this
It's kind of-
AGM.
He was like,
Don't forget AGM.
I had a moment there, you know what I mean? He's just kind of doing one of these numbers, threw me off.
But now he's in real estate. Not only just in retail. I'm sorry, vacation ownership,
Right.
but also residential ownership as well. And so he's been very successful in all avenues that he's a part of. So
I appreciate that.
it's my brother right there, AGM.
Mr. AGM.
Appreciate it. Hey, appreciate you
word.
guys. Hey, you know,
You used to work like crazy.
dude, like a lot,
Right.
man.
What was that restaurant you worked at?
Actually, I think
Bellacino.
Bellacino.
he
Shout
got
out
me.
to
He got me the
talent.
job at the movie theaters.
Oh shoot! Remember we used to work at the remember Big
Yes.
Bertha? We used to clean
Where?
that popcorn machine.
Oh my
Hey,
goodness.
shout out Grundy, Virginia, man.
Grundy?
Yeah.
You worked there? Don't know where. Yeah,
We worked together. All.
I forgot about
Remember our boss Donna?
Yes.
She loved us, man. She loved us.
Donna?
But, yeah, that was her
Boss?
name. Yeah, her
Yeah.
name was Donna. Yeah. And we
I
used to
forgot
at
about
all.
that. Yeah, I
That's-
forgot that you forget stuff.
How long were you
That
guys
was-
working there?
like at least a year and a half.
No.
Yeah,
Yeah,
bro.
before we
we
left.
were working the movie theaters, man. We were
Yeah.
getting all those.
Was this after school? Just after you graduated?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was after we graduated. Yeah.
okay.
We
But
worked out
best story from working at the movies.
there. Which one?
I'm asking.
The best story from working at the movie.
I don't think you can tell
Yes,
that
I
right
can't
now.
tell that.
Can't tell that, huh?
Nah,
This
nah.
All right, that's
this
another.
is a different
Why would
conversation.
you? Why would you
on,
even put
man.
us
Come on.
on?
Not that podcast.
Come on,
Like,
come on,
Malcolm
man.
wants
Why
to
would
get
you-
people in trouble.
Jeez.
Oh, it was one of those
Jeez,
stories.
dude.
Okay.
No,
No, it's just let's move on.
You saw how he felt for that? No.
All right.
Yeah, he almost got me
Good,
too.
good,
Like,
good. Pretty sure you
Anyway.
guys are.
anyway, man, hey, I get the pleasure of introducing our next horseman right here.
There you go.
All right, the one, the only, Mr. Yannick Keefley. And I don't know I don't even know where to start with this guy. I mean, you talk about back in our days. Y'all remember when we were in Mount Mission? We're hooping, and this guy was the rising star. He was killing everybody. I mean, he was breaking.
What's that movie? That basketball movie where he goes to a different country?
Rudy?
No,
No, that's football.
Rudy.
What the hell?
What's wrong with you?
Good. Hey, I'm making sure
What is
everyone
wrong
here.
with this guy? Yeah.
It's a wrong
Is-
sport.
Wrong
Yeah,
sport.
I know.
Rudy's
Exactly.
football.
Yeah, except when you thought it was
I
the
said
movie.
it.
No, nobody thought. We
Yeah, I know
instantly-
that. I know exactly. What
Which
I
one
said.
was
You talking about the Nuva?
Yeah, remember when he comes back and
Wait.
he plays for college?
Yeah, he goes to
Airball?
Africa. No, it's
No.
The air up there?
air up there.
Oh, he used to, I remember that. That was a good
I'll be like
call.
one of the spearmen. I'll follow you everywhere you go.
I told I said,
Yeah.
we're going to go to the same
Yeah.
school. I'll
Yes.
make sure you're going to
Yes.
be good.
I mean, he had a following. Like
Yeah,
a
I
strong
was like, I was
following.
gonna make sure Yanni's gonna be good.
Man, he was killing
You remember
it.
that?
The spearman. I remember that now. I totally forgot. I swear to God.
Air up there.
It just
Air up there,
Yeah,
man.
not Rudy. This
Yeah,
guy-
Rudy
that's
was
a good movie, but
Rudy was a good movie.
Hey, sit this one out. Sit this one out. So yeah, man. Speaking of the air up there, this guy he set the limits high, like really, really high. So you knew that he was destined for greatness because his competitiveness, his work ethic was unbelievable. I mean, nobody was gonna outwork him. And
5
you
a.m.
knew that.
workouts.
5 a.m. workouts. I mean, we were talking. I remember this one time. He used to shoot in the gym with very minimal lights, right? Just so that he can obviously precise his shots and all that stuff. A lot of good stuff, man. I mean, this guy was all about the details. He was all about perfecting that. So, hey, long story short, he took his basketball career into the college world, dominated that, and there soon after that, his passion led him to his first career, where he was actually sought after, where he was tapped to actually recruit the top talent in the Mid-Atlantic. You know what I mean? So he was out there
St.
making
Mary's.
sure. Yeah, St.
I
Mary's.
remember
That's right. I mean,
Recruiting.
Coach
recruiting
Hardy.
hard. Talk about
Coach
sales.
Hardy.
Coach Hardy.
Yo.
That's when he knew he was in sales.
Yeah,
it's
man.
like, hold on.
This is a little different, right?
Remember,
But I'm not making as much.
I'm doing sales, but I'm not making much.
He
That's
said, how do I
true.
get top talent to St. Mary's?
That's it. That was
right there
a
is a
tough
sell.
job
it was a
right
good
there.
time,
That's-
man. It was a good
that
time.
was-
Still have like fond memories. I'll never forget those guys, the assistant coaches,
Yeah.
I worked with, still brothers. Like
Mm.
I mean, when you have a situation like that where you really like you're on the grind, especially
Yep.
as an assistant coach,
Yo.
where you're just literally just like on the road,
Yep.
at practice, in the games, just all year round. You tend to bond, and like you said, you're not making shit.
Yeah, I remember.
So it's for the thing. And I remember like, yeah. So I those were
Those were
definitely found memories and ones that I will never forget for sure.
We're not
Hard
done
Knocks
yet.
for
We're
sure.
not done yet.
Yeah, School of Hard Knocks for sure. I mean, he
That's
took
just
that.
one level.
That's just one level.
Yeah.
Like, so he took his competitiveness, he took the hard work that he learned from obviously recruiting, all that stuff. He had a small little stint with the government. He realized he's not
Oof.
part of the cubicle guy.
Yeah,
He said this life ain't for him.
Life
right?
ain't for him.
So he couldn't do that. So he ventured off and he did something that most people are scared of, which is to start his own business, right? And so he became his own entrepreneur. Obviously, I mean, this man went from
how many years?
I mean, he's 10 plus. 10 plus. Yeah, 10.
I remember his first video.
Yo, his first video was actually wild. Yeah, I gotta check it out. Check out his first video.
He looks so different. He can't
so
put them out.
different. Yo, he didn't have as many gray hairs.
Or he didn't have the sleeve.
Didn't he have the sleeve?
I make videos with sleeves.
Hey, he did. You remember the dreads that he used to have though?
Yes. I never made videos with dreads. Those were cut off.
No,
you did.
You did.
I cut my dreads when I was coaching.
No, bro. I think we had a couple. We're gonna have to check.
You might have to check that out.
Check the tapes.
Before I went to move to St. Mary's, I cut my dreads, and I still remember that.
I don't know. We're gonna have to check the tapes on that. But
So,
I remember the dreads. Anyway, he took that. He took that small little business, working out of his own basement, right, making phone calls, blowing it up, and from there it grew to what it is today. And then obviously he's helped hundreds of buyers and sellers all across the DMV. If you haven't heard of him, you will hear of him, right? I mean, this guy's dedicated to the game, and he grew from one man show to obviously having agents all across the DMV, operating in 3 different offices, and just dominating the game, man. So proud of you, my man.
Guys, appreciate you guys. I'm proud of you guys.
For sure. So that's who Yanni is, man. And let me ask you this, though. How did all this start?
Man, it was a cold night in what? Yeah. No, remember I came. So I went to. We went to me, Malcolm, and a few other people, but we went to the Grand Cardinal and the 10X conference. Uncle G, Malcolm's uncle.
Yeah, give him a second.
There you go.
10X,
There you go.
No, it's real talk though. Malcolm, he knew Uncle G before Uncle G was who he is now.
That's true.
He went
That's
to the first
him.
conference in Mexico.
In Mexico.
And I got a video of Grant
hanging with him.
No, Grant took his phone
and
was drunk. He's like, Yanni, what's up? All this stuff. But this was it was very intimate. It was crazy.
That's true.
So,
I do remember that.
Basically, he was like, look, how do you get me in front of Keller Williams?
Yeah.
And GC just took the phone. He said, this is how you get in front of Keller Williams.
I
And he called Yanni out.
Yeah, he sent me a video. But that's so cool to see because, I mean, that was intimate. That was maybe how many? I mean, you're talking about maybe less than 50 people, right?
Yeah, we love.
Very intimate.
Yeah, right there.
Very intimate, yeah. So
we're now, like, we have the interaction now where it's growing to whatever. That's how the size was crazy. It was a great conversation. But during that, it just dawned on me, like, so many opportunities that there's. Like people are doing things at a high level. And, and so I was like, you know what? Like, I mean, I've always had the passion, like, to speak sales, motivate, and whatnot. And when I thought about us in terms of, like, how close we are and each of us have a diversity in terms of the level of type of work that we've done in sales and all of that. So I remember that idea and that 4 Horsemen of Sales came in my mind, and that's when I presented to you guys during that time when we went to the bar when we were chilling out with a couple of other friends, and that was where I laid it out and took some time, but that's where it's here now. You know what I mean? So it's
speaking of that night, you remember that night, Claudio?
Oh yeah, Malcolm gave me some wrong directions. He's like, just come to the Hamilton.
That's right.
Should we take a vote on this?
Yes, we do.
There is no vote to be had.
Do you know how many Hamiltons are in DC?
A lot.
Let's viewers, we'll take a note. I mean, we'll take a vote.
Hamiltons.
If we say the Hamilton, we're at the Hamilton in DC.
That's it. That's all you said. The Hamilton at DC.
Yep.
That's all you said.
I mean, there's one that's more popular, but I mean, especially because
I mean, by the way, this is before Claudio moved out to the area, essentially, Moved back to the area.
Oh, that was before?
Because he's originally from but he's originally from DC.
I'm with you, but this is before he moved back. So he was from out of town.
We're talking to Hamilton.
I'm with you,
right
but
next
how
to the
many
Willard?
Hamiltons are there? You didn't say that. You didn't say next to the Willard.
So you just happened to be there that weekend?
Yeah, man.
That weekend?
I just moved back.
I just moved back.
I wasn't even back like 2 weeks.
That's true.
That's right.
And then we all got together and
I'll prove it to you. The way we picked the Hamilton was a spot that everyone knew.
No, that's not why. Because there was a game going on.
Calvin was close. He was having dinner somewhere close right there.
Yes, Calvin had a dinner somewhere. That's it. And we just knew that was the closest thing.
We will let the viewers decide.
It's okay. Just don't ask directions like traffic directions from Malcolm. But anything else, he's perfect.
We got pictures to show that he doesn't know how to give directions. You remember that one picture?
Which one?
Driving?
We always get lost.
This was before like Google and all
that.
Yeah,
we always get lost on the road. Seriously.
They just made that one up.
What do we do?
Really? Should we pull up Instagram on that?
Pull it up.
Okay.
I used to print out the MapQuest.
Yeah,
right? Remember that?
Dude.
You used to print out the MapQuest and they used to look at it.
Malcolm used to think he was the MapQuest.
He was always in the passenger side trying to lead the way.
Hey, how about our friends from MS? Which way is it? Just go straight.
Just go straight.
You remember that?
Yeah, just go straight.
Who's a couple of our friends from MS?
Anyway, man,
just go straight. That was the answer to every direction.
So that's what it is, and this is the Four Horsemen of Sales, and like I mentioned to you guys, we want this to be, raw and just an opportunity that we can express our experiences, give information to the viewers and listeners, and a place where all of us can basically help the other man, and help each other. And one of the things, it's a benefit to us as well is, by all means, we're not anywhere near where we need to be in terms of our own profession and career. So as we're doing this, it's going to make us better as well.
Correct.
But each of us has a passion and a skill set that I think together it's going to really help people out there. So was that good?
No, that was really good. You guys can see him on the camera.
Check
and
it out.
then even the two guys together, that was awesome.
Zoom in on that one. Hey, so speaking of the Four Horsemen, hey, who's sponsoring our first episode?
Man, it's our sponsor here is Push Start. No, what are you talking about?
No.
Push Start right now. We'll have more in a little bit, but yeah, Push Start is our first sponsor.
Yep.
We'll give more information about that.
Cheers to Push Start.
Cheers to Push Start.
Absolutely.
Making everything happen.
Absolutely.
Episode 1, Season 1.
Episode 1, Season 1.
There you
Here
go.
we are.
Push Start. So let's kind of move things along. I guess, so we've talked about who we are and kind of how this came about. I guess what would each of you want our viewers or listeners to benefit from this podcast and this show in a sense? Again, there's thousands of podcasts.
Yeah.
So like somebody listening to us, or what is your goal specifically? Each one of you guys.
Yeah. And I could start that off. I mean, the biggest thing that I would want is, at the end of the day, I want others to have like a plan in place, but also an insight to real life situations where you wish, like, as you get older, you say, man, I wish I knew this earlier. Or, you see something that you can change by listening to somebody that's been there and experienced it. So just really a different perspective, and there's 4 different perspectives here. And so there's something for somebody. So everybody learns in different ways. So you may not like the way I communicate, but Malcolm might say it the exact same thing, but just a different way. That's sales. And that's what we want, and hopefully you guys feel the same way.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
want our viewers to see.
That actually aligns with, I was thinking about it, I was like, hey, what do we want our viewers to see, right? Or what would they want, what benefit would we want them to get out of this? And really it's with our backgrounds, we've been introduced to different ventures in sales, but that's our commonality, right? And to his point, we do it a little different, but it's to give everyone a renewed perspective on sales, right? And if you can just walk away with a different perspective, you will get a lot, right? There's going to be a lot of content that we bring here, but it's just a change of perspective. And if you already had a perspective on sales, then just enhancing that, right? And and we're extremely excited about it, right? Extremely excited about it, and we look forward to it. So
I mean, for me, I think it's when I think about it, man, it's an exciting venture that we have going on here, and I always think back like where we were before. Right, for me personally, hey, I think most of us in here are practically first generation. From our family, from our kin, we're first generations of X, Y, and Z, right? So we know that there are voices out there that have not been heard. There are people out there that are wanting help but don't know where to go or who to ask or anything of that nature. Maybe too scared to ask, or they feel like nobody understands them. because we're bringing that realness, we're bringing that authentic, we're bringing that raw, if you will, concept to the mainstream. And we're hoping that at least it can help at least a business or two out there or a person or two out there that's been longing for that extra push, that extra motivation, that extra insight to learn from. Because I think, hey, if we can do that, if we can help individuals out there and simultaneously also making ourselves stronger too, because to Yanni's point, I mean, not only are we looking to improve other people's lives, but by doing this, it's going to put us in a platform where we're essentially cornered to make sure we know what we're talking about.
Exactly.
And so anyway, hey, for me, it's sort of multi-purpose, is to help us get to the next level, right, while simultaneously helping the next generation and lifting them up, right?
Yeah.
So for me, that's what I look for.
No, those are all good points, and like I said, to me, and you guys have known, I've said this a lot of times, but sales it's, when somebody says sales, they automatically think of like sales position. You're selling someone. But like for me, sales, man, it's needed.
Yeah.
It's needed in every part of your life.
Yeah.
Whether you're working in actual sales industry or selling something, or you're working in a 9-to-5 corporate. That's being able to convey your value to other people, to influence other people on your ideas and whatnot. That's sales. You know what I mean? Being able to create rapport with your boss or your coworkers, so that you're in a position to succeed. That's sales. Yep. You know what I mean? If you're a startup, being able to pitch your ideas to investors, that's sales. Even though you don't consider yourself a salesman, that's being able to do that. So like sales in every part, and I hope that it's going to be something that it's going to be fun, entertaining. Yep. It's not just we're going to have skills and strategy and whatnot, but it's for the everyday people as well. And I think motivation is huge for me.
For sure. I
think every single day you really have to, especially if you're just talking about the sales positions and sales industry.
Right.
I mean, you better be motivating yourself every single day.
Absolutely.
I mean, you will get eaten up and you will lose. No matter how strong or how skilled you are, there's going to be a lot of tests. And if you're not motivating yourself every day and finding ways to motivate yourself, over time you're just gonna fall. So that's the biggest thing for me. Like I said, again, motivation by itself won't work, right? But having all those different things that you guys provide as well, that's what makes this thing
for sure
really great.
For sure.
So those are really good points, and I think the next question and whatnot is, I guess, what's the biggest impact that your industry career has had on your life? Like, so whatever you've done, and really, to be honest, throughout your life, whatever you did as a sales or whatever, career that you had or job that you had, how has that impacted you in your life and all of that? So, Malcolm, you want to kind of start this off?
And I'm glad you added the second piece to it, because when you look at takeaways, right, what we've taken away, and especially over the course of, we're celebrating a new decade, right, and especially in our industry, you don't ever know who you're going to meet, right? So these are not pre-planned clients that we're talking to, but biggest takeaway is, hey, you can, once you learn the skill set of sales, you can learn how to effectively communicate and transfer the emotion that you're trying to accomplish, or really get what you want out of it, right? Yeah. And it's given us the skill. It's given me the skill set to. It doesn't matter where we are, right? To be in a room and effectively communicate to anyone, regardless of what demographic, right? Regardless of what status, right? And it's really the underline between where confidence comes from, right? People aren't confident in situations that they don't know about, right?
Exactly.
So as soon as that's where the whole, fear of the either flight or fly, right? But when you can learn how to communicate, and I look back to why did I choose the degree, right? The communications degree.
Sure.
One, felt like it was the easiest one, right? From a schedule standpoint, probably the least demanding. Two, though,
I mean, he was playing golf full time at the same time, though.
So no, but I'm keeping it real. But it was also attached to the professor that I felt like had the most amount of value. This guy from South Africa that like he just knew how to entertain,
right,
communicate. Like it was, and I was like, man, and that was his niche, right? Corporate communication. So, but I realized within each of those classes, I'm like, man, you got to learn how to effectively communicate, right? There was a class in rhetoric. There was a leadership class, but it was all tied into communication.
Sure.
And I think the most successful people in this world today are some of the best communicators, right? And so that was the biggest takeaway, just how to communicate with anyone, regardless of. So,
I mean,
what about you?
For me, I think there's several things that come to mind. The one that just keeps resonating with me is being able to, because I guess with the different sales positions and different ventures that I was a part of and so on and so forth, what I gained the most out of everything is really learning how to listen, right? Now, my wife might think differently. She doesn't think I'm a good listener, but
we'll call up Leanne after this and verify.
Now, if you ask my wife, she'll say different. But when it comes to the business world, right? Hey, I think being able to separate yourself from anyone else, because hey, salespeople, to your point, they're known as chatty people.
Yeah,
just talking.
Well, that's the perception.
That's the perception.
That,
right?
You know, a good, not a salesman is that.
It's that guy that wants to come over and just try to sell you something, this, that, and the other.
Slick talk.
All that stuff. What I learned early though is that hey, nobody likes to be sold, right? But everybody loves to buy, right?
Yeah,
and so hey, what's the difference between the two? To me, I think it's being able to listen, understand, and really provide folks the solution that they may or may not know they needed, right? And so, hey, how do you formulate that? Communicate. I mean, being able to be a good, very, very good listener. I mean, to piggyback off you, it's communication, right? So it's being able to listen to what people are saying to you, because at the end of the day, I've learned this early too. Is hey, nobody cares about what you know at all, right? Until they know how much you care, right? So. Which leads me to my next thing is that hey, it doesn't come overnight. It's not something that you're just gonna know right away. There's no magic pill that you can take and say, hey, I want to be a good listener. It takes a lot of patience, and that's something that I learned in my so far career, if you will, is to be able to have the patience to allow things to come to fruition with all the hard work and all that other stuff. So hey, for me, it's being able to be a good listener or continue to try to be, and then obviously being able to have patience to see it come through. Because oftentimes, to know it's going to come through. Sometimes people, I see an image, and I'm sure you guys seen this before too. You see an image of a gentleman who has an axe in his hand, and he's digging and he's digging and he's digging, right? And then right below him is another image of another individual who continues to dig, but the top picture is a man that turns around and leaves when he only had very little left to go. And all the diamonds right there. I know y'all know what I'm talking about. Yeah. So that's that, right? That's the kind of patience and perseverance that I'm talking about. So I think that's to me what sales has taught me is to be a good listener and to be patient. What about you, Clark?
Yeah. You said all of y'all said great stuff already.
It took
a lot of good stuff there, but. No, for me, it comes down to relationships, ultimately.
That's true.
The biggest impact, I mean, and I'm talking about relationships that are, peer-to-peer. When you have a peer-to-peer that you work with and they see how you work, the next day you could be their boss.
Yep.
And at the end of it, they know your work ethic, they know what you do. Do they still respect you and trust you to lead them? That's another perspective you have to see. And if you're doing your best all the time and you're building those relationships, that you've earned everything.
Yeah.
I mean, even if you don't know them, you do that, you build a relationship. I mean, there's people I still talk to from, obviously now, I mean, our relations since 6th grade, And with this industry and that career, you gain so much relationships and a different platform, but also you gain flexibility. In sales, you control your outcome, whether it's income, whether it's the days you want to work, or vacations you want to take, all that stuff. If you want to do all that, great. You better be good.
Yeah.
I mean, you better be good, Or you can put in the work, do what it takes, and then after that, you control what you want.
Absolutely.
And that's what I also want to provide and what I've gained.
Yeah. No, relationship is big. I think relationship is big, especially like in our industry and whatnot. It's really, I tell people, it's really creating those relationships because you create relationships and those people are gonna, whether it be send referrals and all that. But so that the trust that you build through those relationships are huge. For me specifically, it's the mindset, being mentally tough, and I think that's what's really taught me the biggest. I think when I look back on life and just do it all, when I look back and you mentioned my basketball career in high school and going into college, what I really lacked, what I thought was mental toughness, being able to, regardless of what's happening around, regardless of the negativity, being able to be confident in yourself and being just focus on that, so having that mindset, and I wasn't mentally tough then, and that's why I think it's a big passion for me now, because it's you have to be mentally tough.
Sure.
You have to, and that's every in life. There's things that happen every single day that's gonna try to throw you off, personal reasons, this and that. So having I think the biggest impact that's had is being the mental toughness.
What's that quote when we were in college? He used to text me and
don't be allergic to hard work.
There it is.
That's the Coach K right there.
Don't be allergic to hard work. And he talks about confidence. Confidence comes from what? Reps, right?
Yeah.
It comes from reps.
Sweat equity.
It's sweat. Yeah, like the more you do something and the more that you're comfortable doing something, you're gonna be confident.
And you're gonna
and
perform.
So exactly, and then that only comes with you putting in that work. And then it's that mental toughness of being able to show up every single day, and regardless of what's happening, regardless of the rejections, regardless of the no's that you get, just continuing on. So
it's crazy how they all align. When you have the motivation, because you don't become mentally tough overnight, but when you have the right motivation, and I think probably another subject, purpose. Or a strong enough why.
Exactly.
That's very true.
And a plan.
Right? All of it.
Just like working out.
The mental thing is underrated.
You don't do that though.
I try.
Sorry.
I try.
Wow, y'all on fire today.
He's mad because I ran 2 miles yesterday and he was mad.
Why are you mad about that?
I'm not mad. I don't even know. I don't even know if that's true. To be honest with you,
on the keto diet right here.
Look,
we'll call Sarah for that.
Yeah,
it's underrated.
To be verified.
No,
the mental thing is underrated.
Yeah, because regardless of motivate, and that's everything works together. But there's gonna be a point where you're tested, and being able to be, to fight through that is very important. And I'm not talking about just sales. I'm talking about life.
Mm-hmm. For sure, man.
That's what I'm talking about life. So, and I mean that goes into and we'll talk about our mantra and whatnot, right? Transforming individuals to be resilient, motivated, and skilled. And I think we talked about that. We went back and forth and whatnot. All these 3 words are important. I think resilient, it goes back to kind of the tough-minded.
Yep.
Being that no matter what's happening, you're still gonna go. You're still gonna show up each day. I think motivated is you have to be purposeful with that. Yeah. Being seeking out motivation every single day and whatnot, and having that. But also, those 2 things will not make you the best or get you to the highest level. Skills is number 1, and I think a lot of people forget that. Like they think if they're motivated, if they're rah every single day.
Get up every day at this time. Exactly. I'm still gonna do it.
That's not. You have the skill. You have to put in the work. You have to put in the reps, and you have to practice. When it comes to, if we're talking about sales, you got to go through. Whether it be your scripts, all of those things. If we're just talking generally corporate, you have to know your products, what your job is, and all of that. So you have to be skilled, and I think that goes into that. So you guys can chime into what you guys.
I think one of the biggest takeaway that I get from our mantra too, and it kind of continued to dawn on me, is that first word, transforming, right? For me, I think
that was his word, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think we debated that one. He was like, "Make sure that's in there."
I said, "Hey, listen, the reason why." Hey, I did.
It's a pretty powerful word.
Actually, we're gonna have to check that. I don't know.
I did. Check the SMS. That was me. Bro.
That was it. Because I said, what did I say?
You said, let's not mention it.
Well,
Transforming.
Right.
So the reason.
I just thought mine was still really good.
No, because yours made it. Anyway, that's neither. We're not gonna go there. He keeps on bringing it up.
Let's not argue on the show, please.
So we argue. That's the whole point. I'm gonna argue with.
So transforming for me indicates multiple things. Because with sales, hey, you may come in live, hot and ready to go, and then all of a sudden you see your lows, right? So for me, it's transforming. To me, translates to something that you already have. It's there. It's just how do we build it to get to where you need it to be. So you got to go through essentially a transformation period. At the end of the day, it's a process, right? So I think as powerful as the three things that we want out of this is the resilience and the motivation and being skilled is, hey, we're looking to transform people, right? And empower folks to be better than what they are. And I think that's as important, if you will.
Well said, yeah.
So
love it.
So that's what it is, and that's what the show is going to be about. Like I said, it's going to be.
Are we doing this weekly? Are we doing this?
We're doing this weekly. So you're going to catch us every Tuesday. It's going to drop 11 a.m.
11. Is that Eastern time? Pacific time?
Yeah, that's Eastern time.
What are we
Just
talking?
depends on
11
the day.
a.m.
11 a.m.
John, is that Eastern time? Is that correct? Eastern time?
Yep.
Yeah. There it is. Eastern time.
He's like, what?
What?
11 a.m. So yeah, we like I said, it's going to be something that I think a lot of you guys will enjoy, and we got a lot of things planned for this season. Again, it's going to be on YouTube as well in terms of the all platforms, video, audio, and whatnot. So Tuesdays 11 a.m. It's going to drop news every week.
Tell them where to find us.
All platforms.
All
It's
platforms.
gonna be
What's our username?
Our handle?
Yes.
Our Instagram handle?
So-
Four Horsemen.
Horsemen Sales on Instagram, right? Horsemen Sales on Instagram.
I think I
We
live
put it together.
Nice.
Let our
Commit and figure it out.
Wow, that was messed up.
Look it up.
So how do you know on Instagram is Horsemen
We
Sales?
don't have it. Dang,
Come
it's
Hold
on,
on,
man.
Actually,
Man.
we took two different things.
No. One of them.
It's all one word. Four Horsemen of Sales on
Four, like
Instagram.
F-O-U-R.
F-O-U-R. Four Horsemen
There it
of
is.
Sales.
AGM put that one together. I love it.
Claudia, thank you for that one.
Welcome.
Appreciate it.
And come with us to the journey.
Yes, indeed.
We are the Four Horsemen of Sales.
There it
Until
is.
next time.
Thank
Cheers,
you, guys.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
See you guys next week.
For closers.
Absolutely.
Woo!